obviously had the time to go back and look. What did you like about Jordan's performance, and what does he kind of need to build upon from here?
I thought it was a pretty solid performance all in all. We talked about the one, in a 2-minute situation. Obviously, you never want to take a sack in that situation. But I thought, for the most part, it was pretty clean. It's never going to be perfect. But I just thought the poise, the command, his ability to make some critical throws. I thought, especially when you look at the situational ball was huge in our game. The third downs, the fourth downs, him being able to make those big time throws in those key situations, I thought he did an outstanding job with that. So I thought all in all, he really played a hell of a game.
Matt, we saw the video that you gave Kenny the game ball afterwards. When did you kind of become aware that it was the first time playing in front of his dad, and just how special was that moment?
Well, we had talked about it the week before. He told me, and I knew that meant a lot to him with his dad being in attendance, and I thought he played a really good game.
How did Aaron's handy check out when he came in today?
We're still kind of going through that right now in terms of I can tell you the encouraging thing was that he was able to jog off the field, and we were in a situation where we didn't need to put him back in the game.
Is Quay in the protocol?
Yes.
Matt, you mentioned the situational ball. What helped make the offense so successful, particularly on third downs?
Yeah, I think a lot of, when we were in some longer third downs, we were able to convert a few of those, most notably the 3rd and 13 on that first series. I thought that was a big time moment. Just hitting a simple slant route, and Rome did a great job, and Jordan put it on point. But I thought, for the most part, the protection was really solid. It always starts there. I thought our offensive line did a really good job of giving Jordan time to make his decisions and go through his reads, and in some cases get back to his 3rd or 4th read.
You ever coached a game with 11 rookies, counting the kicker?
Actually, I think it was 13 if you count the punter. I don't think the league counts the punter, but no, I don't. I didn't really know that until I came in today and somebody said something.
Did you have a tailored message to those guys going into their first game, and how do you think that they fared when you saw them on film?
Yeah, we had a message. We always give them a good message the night before the game. But I'd rather keep that with the team.
On the, I don't know if I should call it an overthrow, on the miss to Luke on the corner route, Greg Olsen said on the broadcast that that's on Luke to keep that straighter. What exactly happened on that one?
Well, they dropped them in coverage. They were in 3 deep. The corner dropped it. What we coached Luke on is just a lot of times when those situations occur, you just want to get your head around because you're so open. But what he needs to do is he needs to stick his foot in the ground and then take a high angle so he can. It's always easier to adjust flatter than it is, going upfield. So those are ones that we absolutely need to connect on. Thankfully, we didn't miss the other one where we fumbled the snap and on the leak, and where Luke ran about 10 yards backpedaling downfield. That doesn't happen too often, and thankfully made the catch in that situation.
I feel like it went with Joe calling plays up in the booth.
I thought it went well. I thought there was, for the most part, it was pretty clean communication. We obviously had the one substitution error, but we just got to be better with that from the sidelines in terms of knowing that we can't sub somebody in if they don't sub, especially a team that we know, and having Getsy there as the offensive coordinator, we know that they have that in their system, that if they catch you with too many on the field, they're going to get up to the ball and try to steal a play on you. But the one thing I liked about that play is our guys kept playing. Obviously, Rashawn got the sack. That does not count, but it just prevents, a worse situation.
For Anders' first career field goal, 52 yards, kind of the confusion with the timeout and the high snap, and for him to go and put it through the uprights. How much confidence does that build in you for a rookie?
Well, that was the plan. We were trying to put him in the worst possible position. Luckily, he came through for us. So that was a great moment. I think just that whole sequence, anytime you go into the half and you get points and then you get the ball back to start the second half, I mean, we always call that lapping somebody, and you know, he was able to execute in that situation, and Daniel did a great job of getting the ball down on the ground, and yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
And what did you think of what Darnell gave you? You know, especially early on with the TFL and some of the stuff he did against the run.
Yeah, I thought Sav played a really complete game. I thought he was flying around. Obviously, led us in tackles with 10, and you know, I was just really happy for him. We all know kind of the up and down that he had last season. I think he's really done a great job of just coming in each and every day with just a great energy, and he does a hell of a job communicating with the back end, you know, making sure everybody's on the same page. And I just, his practice habits have been outstanding, and he's doing a really good job. He's off to a really good start, and we anticipate and expect it to keep on, you know, going that way.
Matt, do you have any plans tonight to watch Robert and Aaron in Green Bay East?
I'm sure it'll be on. It usually the Monday night game's on in the background, but I'm not paying it usually a ton of attention to it. Certainly the focus is on the Atlanta Falcons, and got a lot of work to do with them, and a team that we haven't played in, I want to say 4 years. So you know, there's going to be a lot of studying that goes into that. Obviously, they're coming off a big win over Carolina by 2 scores, and there's a lot of new pieces there. So I'm sure there's a new excitement around that football team, and it'll be a really tough task going against them.
Long ago, we were always asking you about how the special teams are hurting you guys, but the unit really, I thought, won their phase pretty decisively as well yesterday.
Yeah, I thought our teams did a hell of a job. Rich, you know how I feel about Rich and the job he does with that whole group and that unit, and you can tell there's definitely been a culture shift in regards to just how it's viewed amongst the team, and guys taking pride, and you know, shoot, we got starters on there in certain situations, and they do a hell of a job, and so it's become an asset for us.
When you watch what your offense was able to do yesterday, not having Christian on top of that, knowing all that he provides, how much excitement does that give you for what it might look like when you have all the pieces?
Well, it's only 1 week, so I want to. What's important is that we continue to learn, we continue to grow, and we get better each and every week. Every week's going to have a little bit different of a challenge. And Atlanta's defense at first glance looks like it's going to be a heck of a challenge. They've added a lot of pieces there, most notably, you know, with a new defensive scheme. Ryan Nielsen does a really good job of getting the guys to play hard. They got Jerry Gray there now as their pass game coordinator, secondary coach, and add a lot of pieces, like guys like Jesse Bates, that obviously was pretty impactful yesterday. So I think, you know, it was a good start for us. You know, I think it was great to get our guys in a game where we went out, and anytime you're scoring 30-plus points in this league, I think that's usually a pretty good day. I think we benefited from some great field position. I thought you talk about complementary football. It started off on that first drive with our defense getting 2 short yardage stops and being able to turn that into points. We mentioned special teams had a couple big-time returns, and the field position and the situational ball were really the story of the game. But just for our offense inside the red zone to go 3 for 3, that was big time. So I think it was a good start. A lot to improve upon. There was a lot of mental errors that maybe you guys don't always see, but we certainly got to do a better job in our run game in particular, not only up front but on the perimeter, making sure that we're blocking the right people. We just had too many, I would say, miss IDs or whatever you want to call it. We had too many free hitters on our backs that that we need to clean up going into this next game.
How proud were you of the composure of your team when it's 24-6 and the Bears, you know, get the touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, it's 24-14, and at that point it's like they got a young offense. How are they going to respond? How proud are you of your team, knowing that they stayed composed and blew it out from there on?
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, you have to. You got to play it one play at a time, and but for our guys, because sometimes you feel that momentum kind of going the other way, and I thought our guys responded well when they needed to and made enough plays to keep it somewhat comfortable. You never want to get. I'm hesitant to use the word comfortable in this league because I've been on the other side of that, where you're up and you're feeling pretty good, and the next thing you know, you're walking into the locker room with your head down. So you never want to get comfortable, but yeah, it was great for us to be able to get a lot of people, a lot of snaps, get everybody into the ball game. You don't always get to do that, so it was cool. It was cool to see all those guys contribute.
Forget for a second just all the stuff that Aaron Jones does for you on the field. What kind of example does he set for the younger guys?
He's a pro's pro. Just his approach, his ability to speak up when needed. I think he's got everybody's ear in that locker room. Everybody respects him, and it starts by the work that he puts in on a daily basis. And he's got great perspective. He's been doing it at a high level for a long time now. And how old is Aaron? What, 28, 27, 28? He's one of our older players, so it's kind of funny to think about. But he's a do-it-all kind of guy. He can talk to the offense, he can talk to the defense, he can talk to the defense, and everybody's gonna listen. And you see it by his actions. He's out there hitting the sled in the defense period before practice and just doing all the little things. And he doesn't even really do a whole lot in that role. So he just always kind of goes above and beyond, what is expected.
Matt, you've used that thing about not getting comfortable a lot since you've been here. Does that go back to like being the son of a coach, or does that go back to the Super Bowl 28-3? Where did that lesson get hammered in from?
I just think experience. Obviously you got to rub salt in the wound with the Super Bowl loss, but I think early on, especially in this league, I'll never forget when I was in Houston and we were playing Indianapolis and we were up, I want to say like 17 points with about 5 minutes left in the game. And if you guys remember that game, I want to say it was 2008, I believe. We're trying to, Peyton Manning takes them down, they score, make it a 10-point game. And that was the Sage Rosenfeld's helicopter game, where he tried to dive for a first down and we fumble and they scoop and score, and then they get a stop, and then of course Peyton takes them down again. And I mean, it was 21 points in a matter of 5 minutes. It was crazy. So I think that was a really good lesson. That was my first year in the league, and I think any time that you experience that, because I'll never forget sitting up in the press box, I'm like, man, I can't believe we're going to beat the Indianapolis Colts. And then next thing you know, you're just, it's like a funeral in the locker room. So, but those experiences, they stick with you. So you just gotta, you truly have to have that one play mindset. I know it's so easy to say, it's coach speak, it's all this, that, and the other, but if you truly believe it, it makes it a little bit easier to stay in that moment.
What allows Zach Tom to succeed at a position where he's probably not the physical prototype that you maybe try out?
You got your scouting hat on again, huh, Bill?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I think he's done a pretty damn good
That's my
job.
point. He was exceptional yesterday.
Yeah.
He was really good through the preseason and training camp too. What's allows him to play so well there?
I just think he's got great technique. I think he's athletic. He obviously knows what to do. He can play any of the spots, and he's done a great job. He's got a characteristic about him where the moment's never too big. How many times last year was it when we were in warm-ups and you're like, hey, buddy, you're starting today. And he may not have gotten many of the reps at that particular position. And now that he's had a ton of reps at right tackle and is kind of, he's earned that spot because, the other guys that we have, whether it's Yash or Sheed, those guys, we feel a lot, great confidence in them as well. I mean, shoot, Yash has gone out there and he's played a lot of ball for us. Shoot, he locked out, when we played San Francisco, he did a pretty good job against Bosa. So, but anyways, all those guys have done a great job, and Zach certainly has earned that spot, and he had a really good week 1.
Matt, beyond just the Super Bowl, what did those 2 years in Atlanta sort of teach you about being a coach, and how much do you reflect on that this week?
Well, I haven't reflected on it at all, but I just think I was around really good people, the people that I respect in this business. It was going to work for a guy like Dan Quinn, who just had a different approach than I'd ever been around before in terms of just his whole philosophy and leading a football team. And a lot of that I carried with me to this day, and can lean into that just in terms of the culture, the environment that he tried to create there. And it was fun going to work every day, and I think our players enjoyed it. Certainly it was fun winning too. It's always much more fun when you win. But guys like him, guys like Raheem Morris, it was great to coach with my brother for 2 years there. Obviously Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel. I mean, there was a lot of great people there, Bobby Turner, just guys that I've always respected in this business. And, and then you talk about the great players that we got to work with on a daily basis. And that's what makes this job so much fun, is when it's all about the people. And when you have some success at a place, it always has, good memories to just lean into.
How do you determine how mad you get based on certain unnecessary roughness penalties or 15-yard penalties? Because Rasul gets one for celebrating when you guys have the game locked up. TJ's defending his guy on the sideline. Devondre's trying to pull a guy off the pile to help his guy out.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing we addressed today. I mean, we got to be smarter in those situations because those can really hurt you. I didn't really see Sewell's until I saw the film today. I'm sure there's going to be some memes of that out there somewhere. But you want to try to handle when you win with class and dignity as well, and we got to make sure that we clean up some of that stuff. And we know we can't pull guys off the pile. I'm not going to ever come to the total defense of Dre in that situation, but I mean, the guy was kind of putting his elbow into the neck of one of our guys, which I told him, just got to go slap his hand away or do whatever you can do to help your teammate out in that situation. I couldn't really see TJ's, to be honest with you, on tape. I thought that was a legal hit by Jair on the sideline, and they got heated about it. Lineman that we know very well went over and I thought initiated that whole thing, and I couldn't tell if he responded, didn't respond. It really doesn't matter. And that's what I told the team, is you just got to try to keep your poise as best you can in all situations, because you just never know how they're going to rule it. What was the other one?
Rudy Ford, I think.
Oh, yeah, and then Rudy, we talked about his as well. And, I get it. You're a competitor, and he was bringing it. And he had some pretty nasty hits earlier in that game, and unfortunately he was on the wrong side of one, and you just got to keep your poise. So those are moments that you got to learn and grow from. Thankfully, it didn't cost us, but you never know when it can. A lot of these games are tight. They're one possession games, and a play here or there is the difference in the game. And so we just got to make sure we learn from them and can't have them repeated.